Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are stripping back the layers on the housing market, but we're doing it through a very specific and honestly kind of fascinating lens.
Right.
We're looking at a concept called nest investing.
It's a term that is basically defining the entire real estate zeitgeist of 2026. It's popping up everywhere. Financial journals, architectural digests, you name it.
Right. And if you're listening to this and thinking, nest investing, is that just, buying a cozy house and putting some nice pillows on the couch? It's actually much more aggressive than that. The premise we're unpacking today is that here, in 2026, a luxury home has stopped being just a status symbol. It's no longer about the gold-plated faucets or the foyer that screams, "Look at my money."
Exactly. The era of the McMansion, that whole performative display of wealth, is effectively dead.
It's over.
Yeah, the data suggests the home has transformed into a resilient, multi-purpose asset. It's a tool for legacy, it's a tool for health optimization, and frankly, given all the climate discussions, it's a tool for survival.
It's intense. And to guide us through this, we are analyzing a really comprehensive trend report and market analysis that was just released today, Sunday, January 18th, 2026.
Okay.
It comes from Cara Conde. She's a top-tier luxury realtor based in Indianapolis. Now, I have to address the elephant in the room immediately.
Go for it.
We're doing a deep dive on global luxury trends, using Indianapolis as our baseline.
I know it sounds counterintuitive, right? Especially if you're used to looking at New York or London or Singapore.
Yeah.
But that's actually why this report is so valuable. Indianapolis is currently functioning as what we'd call an alpha market case study.
An alpha market.
Yeah. It's a hyper-local look at the Midwest, yes, but because of the price point and the demographics, it highlights the behavior of buyers more clearly than, say, the distorted markets on the coasts.
So it's a cleaner signal of what people actually want versus what they're forced to settle for in a place like San Francisco or Vancouver, where you pay a fortune for a closet.
Precisely. It strips away the desperation of those coastal markets and shows us pure preference. And that preference is shifting heavily toward this nest investing idea.
Okay, so before we get into the vertical gardens and the AI kitchens, let's set the table. We're sitting here in January 2026. What's the economic weather right now?
The report frames it as the Great Housing Reset. If you think back to the inventory squeeze of the early 2020s, that has loosened up significantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, inventory is actually up 20 to 30% compared to last year, 2025.
So buyers aren't scraping the bottom of the barrel anymore. They actually have options.
No, there's choice now. And mortgage rates have stabilized. We're looking at roughly 6.3%.
Right.
We're not going back to the 3% days of the pandemic. That was a historical anomaly. But stability is almost more important than the rate itself. It allows for long-term planning. You know what your payment will be.
And the pricing context, because this is where that alpha market theory really kicks in.
This is the key. In coastal gateway cities, luxury entry pricing starts at $2 million.
At least.
And usually for something that still needs a kitchen renovation. In Indianapolis, which this report focuses on, the median luxury price sits between $500,000 and $1.5 million.
That's a massive spread in purchasing power. You're getting 3 or 4 times the house for the money.
Which brings us to the core thesis. Because these buyers have that extra capital, they aren't house poor. They aren't just buying square footage.
They're buying more.
They're investing in infrastructure. They are physically reshaping the home into a compound. They have the budget to add the features that truly define nest investing.
Let's look at where that money is coming from. Because the report identifies a specific economic engine driving this, and it's a staggering amount of cash.
The great wealth transfer. We hear that buzzword a lot, but the numbers in this report are hard to ignore.
Lay them on me.
Over the next decade, Gen X and millennials are projected to inherit $4.6 trillion in global real estate wealth. In the U.S. alone, that's $2.4 trillion.
$2.4 trillion. It's almost abstract. Sounds like monopoly money.
It does.
But we're not just talking about people waiting for their parents to pass away to buy a sports car, right? This is changing how they live now.
Correct. It's fueling a trend the report calls the family compound. And this ties into the first big takeaway, the rise of multi-generational and flexible spaces.
I feel like multi-generational used to be a euphemism for, I can't afford rent, so I'm moving back in with mom. Yeah. It had a stigma.
It used to be out of necessity. Now it's by design. It's intentional. We're not talking about pull-out couch in the den or clearing out the basement storage room.
Yeah.
The report details private wings, detached guest houses, and homes with multiple primary suites.
Multiple primary suites is the game changer for me. That signals a shift in the hierarchy of the family.
It does. It acknowledges that you might have 2 or 3 generations of adults living under one roof, and they all expect the same level of luxury and privacy.
Right.
It's for aging parents who want independence but safety. It's for adult children returning home to save money or help with the grandkids. And it's for the hybrid work lifestyle that is now just work.
Right, you need a Zoom background that isn't your dad walking through the kitchen in his robe looking for coffee.
Exactly. You need separation. You need acoustic privacy. And the market is rewarding this.
Oh, I bet.
The data shows that homes with these true multi-generational capabilities, conceptually, 2 houses in one, are commanding a 10 to 15% price premium.
That is a significant ROI. So if you're renovating, adding that second master suite or that ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, is probably a smarter bet than a pool in 2026.
Without a doubt. And the report points to specific areas in the Midwest where this is just exploding. Fishers and Carmel, specifically.
These are the northern suburbs of Indy, which constantly top those best places to live lists.
Right. Fishers seeing these family-oriented estates trading in the $400,000 to $600,000 range.
Okay.
But Carmel is the interesting one. You're seeing estates with detached wings, actual separate structures connected by breezeways in the $450,000 to $650,000 range.
That price point for a compound is wild compared to the coasts and the growth projection there.
Carmel is projected for 5 to 12% appreciation. That's beating the national average significantly. It proves the nest investing thesis works buyers are paying up for the safety net of having the whole family close.
It's the tribe mentality coming back to housing.
It really is.
So that's the structure of the house. It's bigger, it's compartmentalized.
Yeah.
Let's pivot to what's happening inside the walls. Because the report suggests a shift from impressing the neighbors to healing the self.
This is trend number 2, wellness-focused and biophilic design.
Biophilic. I always trip over that word. It sounds like a medical condition. Break that down for us. Is it just putting more ferns in the living room?
It's deeper than decor. Biophilia is the idea that humans have an innate tendency to seek connections with nature.
Okay.
In 2026, developers are weaponizing that biology for health. We're seeing indoor vertical gardens, literal walls of living plants integrated into the architecture. We're seeing air purification systems that rival hospital clean rooms.
Wow.
And something called Blue Mind elements.
I saw Blue Mind in the notes. This sounds like a sci-fi movie. What is it?
It's actually based on marine biology and neuroscience. The theory is that being near, in, on, or underwater induces a meditative state. It lowers cortisol. So in luxury real estate, this isn't just waterfront property where you have a dock. It's engineered water features, visual access to water from the bedroom, soundscapes of water designed specifically to trigger that brain response.
So you're basically buying a serotonin boost.
Essentially, you're buying a lower heart rate.
Yep.
And we cannot skip the wellness room.
The cold plunge. I feel like I can't scroll social media without seeing someone sitting in a barrel of ice water.
The cold plunge, the infrared sauna, the dedicated meditation space. The report says these are no longer upgrades or nice-to-haves.
They're standard.
For 70% of luxury buyers, these are baseline expectations.
70%. That's a tipping point. You're selling $1 million home in 2026 and you don't have a sauna, you're selling an incomplete product.
You are behind the curve. And there's a hard financial so what here. Passive houses, homes that are airtight and energy efficient that incorporate these natural materials and wellness features are seeing 10 to 15% premiums. It pays to be healthy.
And the report mentions Geist Reservoir and Zionsville as the hotspots for this.
Geist for the Blue Mind waterfront living, obviously. You want that view. And Zionsville is seeing a 15 to 20% demand spike for nature-integrated estates. People want their home to be a sanctuary because the outside world feels loud.
Well, loud is a polite way to put it. We have economic volatility, political noise, climate issues, which actually brings us to the third pillar of this report.
Right.
If the home is a sanctuary, it also needs to be a fortress.
This is where the tone shifts a bit. Section 3 is the tech-enabled, future-proof fortress.
And we weren't just talking about alarm systems, though. This isn't just about keeping burglars out.
No, we're talking about resilience. The headline trend here is net zero becoming the standard.
Meaning the house produces as much energy as it uses.
Correct. And this is driven by 2 things. One is technology. AI-integrated kitchens that manage energy loads.
Wait, let's pause on the AI kitchen. Does that mean my fridge is going to lock me out if I try to get a midnight snack?
Maybe not lock you out, but it might optimize its cooling cycle based on your usage patterns to save 4 cents a day. It's about hyper-efficiency, voice-activated systems that monitor the entire home's energy consumption.
Okay.
But the other driver, and this is the big one, is anxiety.
Climate anxiety.
Yes. The report is very explicit about fireproof, resilient, and climate-adaptive builds. Buyers are looking at the news, they're seeing the weather patterns, and they want to know their asset will survive.
Right.
They want fire-resistant exteriors, they want elevated foundations to prevent flooding, they want off-grid power capabilities so if the city grid goes down, their life continues uninterrupted.
It's prepper culture meeting luxury design.
That's a great way to describe it. It's prepper chic. The report points to Brownsburg and Avon as leaders in these suburban eco-estates.
And there's a fascinating link here to the job market in Indianapolis, right? It's not just random buyers wanting eco homes.
It's the engineers. The report notes a huge inventory boost for green homes in Carmel, specifically near the West Clay and Bridgewater areas. And why? Because Eli Lilly and major tech firms are expanding there.
So you have a highly educated, science-minded workforce moving in. They understand the engineering, and they probably did the math on the energy savings.
Exactly. The report notes cost savings of up to 20% on energy for these net zero homes. So yes, it's environmentalism, but it's also just smart accounting. If you're an engineer, that efficiency is a selling point in itself. You're buying a machine that runs perfectly.
So we have the multi-generational compound, the biological wellness center, and the net zero power plant.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the aesthetic. Because if I'm building a fortress, what does it look like?
It looks invisible.
Invisible.
The trend is stealth wealth.
I love that term. Unpack that for 2026.
The report calls it privacy, security, and timeless neutrals. 80% of buyers prioritize privacy above curb appeal.
80%.
They don't want the house to scream, "I'm rich." They want it to whisper, "I'm safe."
So the McMansion with the giant columns out front and the flashy facade is dead.
Completely dead. That's considered tacky now. The aesthetic is warm beiges, earth tones, natural stone. It's designed to blend into the landscape, not dominate it. It's a cocoon.
But a high-tech cocoon.
Oh, very high-tech. Advanced biometrics at the gate, perimeter security that integrates with your phone. You want to be hidden. The report highlights Zionsville and Noblesville as the go-to spots for these private enclaves. They're seeing steady 2 to 4% appreciation just based on that privacy factor.
However, the report does mention a little bit of a counter trend, a little bit of flash. Fashion-branded amenities.
Yes. This is the bifurcation of the market. While the suburban buyer wants a fortress in the woods, the urban buyer wants an experience. We're seeing a 5 to 10% growth segment in things like Dolce & Gabbana condos.
Wait, Dolce & Gabbana is doing condos in Indianapolis.
It speaks to the globalization of the brand. Even in the Midwest, there's a segment that wants that curated hotel-like lifestyle. It's mostly in downtown Indy. But it shows that luxury is splitting. You either want the invisible fortress or you want the brand name penthouse in the sky where the concierge knows your name.
That's a fascinating split. It's almost like introverts versus extroverts.
It really is.
So let's zoom out. We've thrown a lot of data at the listener. We've got the $2.4 trillion transfer, the 70% demand for wellness, the net zero push. If I'm listening to this from London or Seattle or Austin, why does this report from Cara Conde in Indianapolis matter to me?
It matters because Indianapolis is the canary in the coal mine in a good way. The report calls Indy a top 10 home buying hotspot for 2026.
And it's the affordability gap.
It's the gap, but it's also the possibility. In a coastal market, that $2.4 trillion wealth transfer gets eaten up just by entry-level prices. You inherit money, and you buy a condo. In a market like Indy or similar alpha markets in the interior, that wealth allows you to actually execute the nest investing strategy.
You can actually build the compound.
You can build a wellness center. You can install the solar grid. The median luxury price of $500,000 to $1.5 million allows for the features we've been talking about. In San Francisco, that price gets you a parking space.
So the trends, the desire for wellness, family space, resilience, they're universal. Everyone wants them. But places like Indy are where those desires are actually being built into reality first because the math works.
Exactly. And the appreciation follows. While the general market might see 2 to 4% growth, those elite suburbs, Carmel, Fishers, are looking at 5 to 12%.
Wow.
That's the market signaling that this is the future of housing.
So nest investing isn't just a catchy phrase then. It's a strategy.
It's a diversification of your life. You're putting your health, your family security, and your energy independence all into one asset class.
So as we wrap this up, if we synthesize Cara Conde's report, what's the ultimate takeaway here?
I think the synthesis is this. Luxury in 2026 has matured. It isn't about excess anymore. It's about autonomy.
Economy.
A home that generates its own power, heals your body, and houses your extended family gives you autonomy from a chaotic world. It puts you in control.
It's the ultimate safety net.
It really is.
And that leads me to a question I've been mulling over while reading this. If your home is now a spa with a cold plunge, and a park with a vertical garden, and a workplace, and a multi-generational village, does the traditional concept of going out become obsolete?
That's the big societal risk, isn't it? Are we building castles so good that we pull up the drawbridge and never leave?
I mean, if I have a Dolce & Gabbana theater and a sauna in the basement, you might have a hard time convincing me to go to a public cinema and pay $15 for popcorn.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. The community is moving inside the walls.
Something to think about as you look around your own four walls. Are you building a nest, or are you just storing your stuff?
Great question.
That's it for this deep dive into the luxury market of 2026. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.